Hello, dear church boys. Welcome to St. Robert's Day Game Pickup Podcast, episode number 29. Well, it's the middle of winter. It's the end of January. In most places, it's cold outside, and winter is the period that separates the strong day gamers from the weak ones. It's the period where only the strongest and the day gamers go out. But we're not that far away from the time when it gets warmer and girls put their winter coats back in their closets and change them to short, hot summer dresses. And as we are in the middle of winter, I think it's a great time to talk about what is the best season to learn day game. Is it spring? Is it summer? Is it autumn? Or maybe it's winter? Each of 4 seasons has its pros for learning day game, why it's amazing for learning day game. And it's not as simple as it might seem. So in this podcast episode, we will go over all 4 seasons and I'll tell you the pros to learning day game in each of the seasons. Before we start, let's talk about a bit what has been going on. So my day game coaching season started way earlier than expected. I went to Prague in early January to coach a student from New York City. We did a 5-day residential, and during these 5 days, student got 3 dates, but he didn't pool in any of the dates. And on his last night in Prague, he's leaving the next morning, and as he's walking back home from a date, and it's already night, and he sees this chick that comes out of a bar and is seemingly looking for, like, in her phone, like trying to find a subway station. He opens the girl and gets a same-day lay with her. I think it's a great way to end a 5-day residential in Prague. I got several lays there, but I told most of the story in the previous podcast and over some of the emails that I sent to the mailing list. Now I'm in Toronto, Canada. I coached a student here for 5 days. It's my first time in Canada, first time in North America. And a student on one of the days got a same-day delay with a cute Brazilian girl. He opened the girl, and she was really on. She didn't speak almost any English, so all set was done using Google Translate. Kudos to the student, it was amazing. And when he comes out of the set, I just say, dude, you should have went on an instant date. She was so on, like it was a same day opportunity. Sure enough, he sends her a message, meets her later the same day, and they go on a date, and he gets a Brazilian flag. And before he got that lay, he had only had one lay in his life, so that was his second lay as a same day, and he got it as a same day delay. The funny thing is, in Canada, weed is legal, so I gave him some edibles. I gave him chocolate that, like, one piece of that chocolate fucked me up so bad. I don't remember the last time I was so high, and so I gave him a bit of the chocolate, and he eats like a third of one piece, and then he texts the girl, and as he's going out and going to the subway and going to the date, he realizes he's high as fuck. So he had to do the date high as fuck and still got delayed. Toronto is an amazing city for day game. I really like it here for day game. On this trip, I don't have much time to day game on my own because I'm basically fully booked. So I treat it more as a exploration journey where I see the cities and I decide where I want to come back for a few weeks, for a month, and do some more day game. Even though Toronto is a very PC city with like, you can't tease here too much, and feminism is definitely here. So, but you still have very nice girls, very different kinds of girls, because this city is very mixed. You can get I don't know, Caucasian, black, white, Asian, anything you like, seriously. It's like everything here, whatever your taste is. Even some Slavic girls from Russia and Ukraine. So it's nice, and even though it's cold, there are There's a big shopping mall in the city center, but you have to day game there carefully because there have been cases with day gamers kicked out of the mall. So I really like it, and if you are in Toronto and if you are thinking about starting to learn day game, this is an amazing city to learn day game. Girls are fairly receptive to day game, so it's pretty cool. And well, next time off to Chicago and New York City, if you are in Chicago or New York City, send me a message because I'm thinking about setting up some meetups there. I'll definitely do a meetup in New York City. And well, I'm fully booked as I told, so I can't take any more new students in Canada or USA. Maybe I can squeeze in like one day of infield coaching in New York City because I have some students that just haven't confirmed some short one-day infields there. So since they haven't confirmed it, I might take someone else if someone shows up. But if not, I will gladly sightsee and just enjoy the city. And after that I'm off to Prague to coach 2 more students. So I'm basically just exploring the best day game places, really. But I'm completely booked until mid-March, and then I just go to Morocco for some well-deserved vacation with beers and learning surfing on some beautiful beach. But I will be back in mid-April, and I have several guys interested in coaching in Prague in mid-April, but they haven't confirmed yet, so I'm still free. And if you want to work on your game with me this spring and summer, let me know as soon as possible for 3 reasons. Well, reason number 1 is people are already inquiring about April, which is several months ahead, and I'm fully booked until then. So this summer will be pretty busy. I will limit the number of students that I take in a month. I will do up to 3 3-day boot camps in a month, or up to 2 5-day residentials per month. I won't do any more coaching because I wanna day game for myself a bit as well, because what I'm doing here in Canada and US is just too much. I'm basically coaching almost every day and just have enough days to not go mental from day game coaching. And the third reason is I will change the structure of coaching packages soon. I will stop doing simply infield coaching. Infield coaching will always come with a follow-up Skype coaching sessions to make sure students implement the new skills as good as possible, and they find ways to make it part of their everyday life. Because I see that some students are struggling when they finish coaching. They're doing good when I'm coaching them, but when they go back to their city, they're struggling to making it part of their life. So I decided that I will only sell packages that include Skype coaching to really make sure students are getting the most of it and really making day game a part of their life. But I haven't done it yet, so if you're interested with getting infield coaching without any Skype sessions, so let me know as soon as possible. Also, since the closest dates are April, all the students will get warm-up tasks to do before our infield coaching to help you prepare as good as possible and get the most out of our coaching. If you have any more questions about this, just join our Telegram group chat, the Daygame Church, and ask the questions there, or shoot me a private message on Telegram, or send me an email. It's all available on my website. Just go to strobert.blog, join the mailing list, and in the welcome email you will get a link for joining the group chat. And okay, now let's finally start talking about 4 seasons and pros to learn day game in each of the seasons. And since spring is not far away, let's start with spring. Well, big pro of spring is tons of girls. First of all, you have girls that are locals in the city, that grew up there and are really locals, but the universities are still on. So girls that moved to the city for university but actually are from smaller towns, they are still in the city. They haven't went back to their smaller cities, smaller towns for the summer, which sometimes happens. And another thing is tourists. There are plenty of tourists in spring. Tourists start traveling way more in spring. So winter is a bit of an off season for tourism as well. For example, here in Toronto, there are very few tourists now that it's this cold. So first big thing in spring, tons of girls, very many girls you can approach, and as it gets warmer, you have this feeling of spring being in the air, and girls are just open to day game. It's just the world is waking up. People are, I don't know, leaving their coats in, maybe putting on something a bit sexier, and it's just the world becomes brighter, people become happier, and girls are more open to day game in spring. Maybe maybe they break up with their winter boyfriends. Maybe Saint Valentine's come, and I think Saint Valentine's was right after Saint Valentine's was like a huge. Like there was this picture I saw with the number of breakups depending like on part of the year, and it was based on status updates on Facebook. And I think after Saint Valentine's it was a huge increase in breakups. So girls are breaking up, spring is in the air, it's amazing. And another big pro for learning day game in spring is you can practice all summer to improve your skills. You start learning in spring, and when you learn day game, you have to understand the model, you have to learn the model, and then you have to practice it and start getting results, start getting really good results, understanding the model deeply, and finally becoming an expert in the model. So you can learn the model in spring and you can practice it all summer, because as we will speak next, summer is an amazing time for learning day game. And you can enjoy that because you'll learn day game in the spring, you can work on your skills, and then the autumn and the winter comes. And first of all, by the time autumn and winter comes, if you're lucky enough, you'll have a bunch of regulars to survive the shitty months of day game, the winter months. But again, if you're really good and if you have some balls, you will keep day gaming in autumn and winter if you're if you're one of the strong day gamers. And another really, really big pro, if you are traveling for day game and if you are learning day game by getting coaching, then Airbnbs are still pretty cheap in spring, because the prices of Airbnbs go up as this tourist season starts. So in summer, Airbnbs are way more expensive. For example, Airbnb, I was staying in Prague. We decided that me and the student will stay in separate Airbnbs. That's what he wanted. I don't really care. I can stay in the same Airbnb with the student or another one. And this Airbnb I was staying at was €37 for a night. And the same Airbnb in early March is €80 for a night, so more than double. So those are the 4 pros of learning day game in spring. Now let's talk about the pros of learning day game in summer. Again, there are tons of girls in summer, because if you live in a big enough city, and I learned day game in Riga, and Riga has, I don't know, maybe 800,000 people there, even in summer, it's amazing, it's incredible. Some say that, oh, girls that are in university go to their back to their towns. I don't think that's a problem unless you live in a really, really small city, because even in summer, Riga was incredibly good for day game. Even when it's festival season, it's still tons of people outside and tons of girls, and you can definitely day game in summer. It's incredible. Wherever I've been in summer, it's really, really good for day games. Tons of girls and tons of tourists as well. Summer, I think, is the hottest tourism season of the year. So you get both local girls and tourists, but there is a topic I want to talk about in another podcast about what's the difference between gaming local girls and tourists, because my view is that you game local girls for dates and you game tourists for same-day lays, and that's it. It's that easy. Another pro in learning day game in summer is short skirts. It's hot and girls love to show their skin, so you're just walking around being horny all day and you just can't keep yourself from opening. There is no problem of not having enough hot girls. That some guys are saying, oh, there are not enough hot girls. Well, I've spoken about this on a different podcast, and it's actually just a weasel to not open. There are some exceptions when guys are getting their first results, then they get their first regulars, and then they stop going out. But it's a whole different topic. It's a huge mistake. They banged the first 7 and got her as a regular, and they aren't even opening the hottest girls because they are saying, oh, they're not hot enough, blah blah blah. That's just bullshit. But summer, there's no such problem in summer. In summer, short skirts everywhere, and another great pro, adding to short skirts. When I went to Prague last summer, I was so mesmerized by huge tits with no bras. It's just incredible to see that. It's impossible not to open, it's impossible not to day game. And if you day game and if you are learning the right way, it's hard not to get laid. If you are learning, trying, if you're not getting results, then go to my website and there is a free 6-day video course. It's called 3 Pillars of Day Game. Like right on the homepage of my website, there's a sign-up form for not learning day game fast enough or something like that. If you keep struggling, just go through that course and you will understand why you keep struggling. So, tons of girls, short skirts, no bras. Another pro is, well, the weather is good and girls are in a good mood. They're open to day game. If the weather is nice, if it's, let's say it's like +2 degrees and it's raining outside and it's dark, obviously girls are rushing to get somewhere inside, and they will still be receptive to day game, but not as receptive as if the weather was great. And in summer, people are just more open to day game, more open to adventures. Another pro is you can do dates outside, you can do park dates and really save a ton of money. Because if you do 4 dates a week, then do the math. It really adds up. And another pro is there are enough girls to easily do 10 sets in 2 hours in any capital city in Europe and in any decent city in USA. Even in winter in Riga, you can do 10 sets in 2 hours. So in summer, it's really, really easy to do 10 sets in 2 hours because you have chicks everywhere. And you have no excuses. If you walk around for 2 hours and don't do 10 sets, well, either you are a high-level day gamer that's gotten 50 or more day game lays and can be picky, which is fine if you have 50 or more day game lays, or you are just talking yourself out of doing sets. Summer really solves this problem as the traffic is unbelievable and you can do 10 sets every day. Okay, that's it for summer, and now let's talk about autumn and learning day game in autumn. Autumn is actually very similar to spring and summer, but autumn has one really big difference that we will talk about in a minute. First of all, just as spring and summer, autumn has tons of traffic because students that went away from the city are coming back, and a really good pro is fresh 18-year-old girls who just graduated high school are now moving to bigger cities to study. And boom, you have so many first-year students in the city that are just thirsty for big city life. And it's easy, they're hot, and the traffic is just incredible. Still, tons of tourists, so traffic is still good. If in summer the Airbnbs were more expensive, then in autumn again the price goes down and Airbnbs become cheaper. So if you travel for learning day game, you will most likely travel if you are learning by getting coaching. Then again, autumn is a really good time because it's simply a little bit cheaper. Even in summer, like let's take Prague as example. In spring and in autumn, you can easily stay in Prague 1, which is the best part for day game. Whereas in summer, if you want to save a little bit money, you'll just stay in Prague 2, which is like a 10-minute walk from the city center, maybe 15, 20-minute walk. So in autumn, you don't have to worry about that. You just get an Airbnb in a city center, the best locations, and boom, you go day gaming, and it's much easier to pull from dates, and most importantly, it's much easier to pull tourists for same day lays. But all this is very similar in spring, summer, and autumn. The big difference in autumn is you get a chance to grow some balls. Not all days are sunny. Girls don't wear short summer dresses anymore, and it's just a little bit tougher. There are more rainy days. You get the days when it's not that warm, and the high vibes of summer and spring aren't there anymore. It's just a little bit more gray. And I learned in autumn and winter, and you can learn the model in autumn. If you can get the basics down in autumn, you can polish your model over winter. You can get really good at it over the winter, and you'll do a lot of indoor game in malls and shops, etc. And you'll do some day game on the streets. Even when it's cold, you can still figure out what are the times when people are coming home from work. Because when I learned, what I did was, like, let's say I went out around 5-ish. I went out before 5, I stayed out for 2 hours. Why? So I started in the shopping mall. Then I knew that from 5 to 5:15, very many people will pass through one square in Riga. They're coming from work. So from 5 to 5:15, I went to that square. Then for 45 minutes, I went to the mall, because some people are shopping after work. Then I went back to that square at 6, because I knew from 6 to around 6:15, again, some people finish work at 5, others finish at 6. So I knew that people whose workday finishes at 6, they will be going through that square. So boom, I'm there to do my sets. Then I go back to the mall, do a few more sets. So you can actually do game indoors and outdoors in autumn and in winter. So you learn the model in autumn, you polish it over the winter, you get really good at it. And when the spring comes, the short dresses, the hot girls without ugly winter coats, you will feel like a kid in a candy store. Hot girls everywhere, and you have mastered this great skill over the winter. As you can hear from my voice, I'm pretty excited about every season. I'm excited about spring, I'm excited about summer, I'm especially excited about autumn, because autumn was the season when I learned day game. So now let's talk a bit about learning day game in winter. Well, my coaching season usually ends in November, so in 2018 it ended with me coaching Mr. V in Krakow in mid-November. So and then I took a few months off from coaching until spring. And last year, 2019, my coaching season ended in Serbia. Yes, it was in Belgrade. I coached a few guys there, and that was in October. So around November, the coaching season usually ends. But this year, it restarted very, very early. It restarted in January in Prague, and then in Canada and in US. And right now, I'm in Canada to coach students, and Canada is one of the coldest countries for day game. But the interest from students here was overwhelming. I immediately got several students here, and after I booked my flights, I received several extra coaching applications that I just couldn't do anymore because my flights were booked, and that's it. So even in winter, there are tons of people that learn day game, and well, winter is for the strong ones, or for people who are used to cold weather. Like people in Canada are used to cold weather. People here, like you can see it from their winter jackets. They aren't dressing. They aren't like yeah, they aren't dressed to impress. They are dressed to be warm. But still, there are big shopping malls, and winter is in winter you can learn in any city with large shopping malls, like I don't know, Prague or any several cities in Poland, some places in Canada and USA, and almost any country in Western Europe. Like if you were from Riga or from Lithuania, or I wouldn't suggest learning day game there. Starting to learn day game there in winter, it will be harder. But if you are from any other place in Europe, any bigger city that has at least 1 million people, or it can even be a smaller city in Poland because there are so many students and so great shopping malls that it's still really good for learning day game in winter. But as I've been saying all the time, winter is a really tough season for learning day game, and winter really shows who is who's strong and who has really big balls, who can still go out and get results in winter. And a little secret that many of you don't know and haven't even probably thought about is when I look back at my lays, winter usually is incredibly good. I've had really, really good months in winter, better months than most months in summer. Again, people are inside. People aren't like the only dating that is happening is online dating. Maybe the people who go to clubs, yes, they meet others, but a lot of people don't go to clubs. Many girls don't go to clubs, so all the attention they get is from online apps, on Facebook messages, Instagram messages, and from coworkers or maybe gym, etc. So they aren't used to being approached. Whereas in summer, autumn, and spring, girls in the biggest cities in Europe, especially in Prague, they're really used to being approached. Like spring and autumn is the day game season, so there are more day gamers. In winter, there are no day gamers. So girls aren't used to it, and you can get really, really good results. But as I said, you need some balls. If you can learn day game in winter, well, spring is just around the corner, and it will be amazing to see spring and short dresses after you've learned day game in the cold weather. As you see, there are pros to every season. In spring, it's cheaper to travel. There are plenty of tourists, plenty of girls. Girls are very open to day game. In summer, plenty of traffic, short skirts, no bras, very many tourists. Again, girls open to day game, everyone's in a great mood. Autumn, again, tons of traffic because new students arrive in city, girls straight out of high school are starting university in bigger cities, still tons of tourists, again, cheap Airbnbs. Autumn was great. And winter is great because winter is a chance to grow some thicker skin, to be a day gamer with a backbone, because if you can learn in winter, you can day game in any season, and you will not really have that strong winter depressions, like the winter day game depression where you start seeing ugly coats. So any season is good for day game. Obviously, my favorite season for learning day game was autumn, and I still have a special feeling about learning day game in autumn, but that's what I did. And I had the balls to keep going out all the time in winter, and I was lucky enough to have a business that let me spend so much time learning day game. I could go out almost every day. I didn't know that many guys struggle with going out in winter. I learned it later after I started coaching guys, after I started meeting many new day gamers. So what is the best season to start learning day game? It's actually whatever season is now. You can learn day game in any season. There are pros to every season, so don't wait for a special season and just fucking learn day game. The incredible things that day game brings to your life, they're just, you can't even describe them? Well, you can read them in my blog, or there are things I don't post in a blog and that I send out to my mailing list. So if you are on a mailing list, you probably are reading some fucked up stories. So that's all I wanted to say about learning day game in different seasons. And as I told you in the beginning of a podcast, I will be available for coaching in April, but people are already starting to inquire. So if you want to do something in spring or summer, let me know as soon as possible, because I will limit the number of students so I can spend some time day gaming on my own. And I'll soon change the structure of coaching packages to include Skype calls as well. So if you don't want any Skype calls, if you just want in-field coaching, then sign up as soon as possible before I change that. And if you have any more further questions, then just ask them publicly in our Day Game Church group chat, which you can access by going to my website, saintrobert.blog, and filling a form there. Well, that's it. Bye, guys.